You are listening to Leading the Factory Forward with your host, Lynn Friest. We share interviews with manufacturing experts and strategies for embracing the digital future, recruiting a new workforce, finding new business. Lynn is an advanced manufacturing strategist and leadership consultant who is on a mission to show manufacturing leaders how to improve their current operations while preparing for a digital future. And here's your host, Lynn Friest.
Hello and welcome again to Leading the Factory Forward. We're here to help you create a compelling future for yourself, your teams, and your organization. Now, today's episode, number 43, is a special episode. It's going to be a brief one, but I'm just going to be talking about weathering the current storm. Now, I'm not a medical expert nor a government expert, but I did want to offer some thoughts on how you as a manufacturing leader might think about and approach this very challenging time. So I want to go over about 5 different ideas. First, the nature of the event, or at least how I see it. Second, the importance of staying connected. Third, paying attention to your finances, your liquidity, your cash flow. Fourth, the whole idea of what's important in your business, both money and people. And then finally, well, what can you do? How can you plan for your recovery? So to start with, just simply the nature of the event. Now, in this case, it's a natural disaster. It's in some ways like a hurricane or a snowstorm, and in other ways, it's definitely not. One, it's going to have a fairly long-lasting thing, but on the other hand, it really affects people and doesn't affect property or your resources. In other words, when this comes to an end, your ability to make products will still be there as opposed to things like hurricanes that damage infrastructure and those kinds of things. So again, this is an issue around people and not property. So I think that's an important idea to hold in your thoughts. And then probably the most important thing that I see is the importance of staying connected. This staying connected with your employees, connected with your customers, connected with suppliers. And how do we do that during these times? I would suggest whether it be simple one-on-one phone calls, whether it be conference calls that you maybe have not used in the past, but there are sources like Free Conference Call that you could get and, in a sense, get all your employees, even though they may be at home, on a call, explain what's going on and what's happening. And then there's also video calls. So there's a Zoom that I use. That even gives you a richer experience of staying connected, especially with your employees or customers or others. But the whole idea here is people are going to feel isolated. You're going to feel isolated. And just out there maintaining those human connections, even though you can't see them each day in your factory, but being connected, not only sharing with them what you know and the fact that you don't know everything, and a lot of it's unknown to any of us, but then also listening to their ideas. They may have ideas on how you can recover from this event. Likewise with customers and suppliers. You want to have conversation with them, let them know what's happening, what's not happening. I think it's very helpful to start thinking about what might be the recovery process as we look out in the future. The third item is, and you already know this, you need to pay attention to your liquidity, your cash flow. And this is another arena where I suggest spending time to be connected, obviously with your bankers or finance people, but also with like the Small Business Administration. I believe there are going to be programs that they might have available. Also, be connected with your local governments. They will have thoughts, ideas. They may have programs, they may have not. But again, just stay connected with the people that are normally as part of your business. It will be different right now because you may be unable to conduct business. But again, keep that information and those relationships going so that you know the best information you can get and share it with them. And maybe you can come up with some creative solutions to help weather this storm. And the fourth idea, it kind of goes back to the earlier ones. Before we entered this crisis, we were talking a lot about workforce, the availability of workforce, how we develop our workforce. So while we probably going to have a bigger focus on things like cash flow and money, just never forget it's still going to be about the people in terms of how you come back from this. Again, all the material, all the infrastructure, generally speaking, that's all going to be there. But what we're going to need to do is have the people come back on board. And from what we know so far about this, people will recover even if they get sick. So in general, the people will be able to come back, but you want to be sure that you're prepared to have them get started back in your business as best as possible. And then finally, obviously, there's much we don't know about this. We don't know what can be done. We don't know what is coming, but it's going to end at some point. And it may not end next week or even next month. But what you can do is start thinking about what's my recovery plan? And again, share this with employees, customers, suppliers, but start thinking through how am I going to come back into business here? Because that will happen. So think about what will you do in 2 months? What might be possible to do in 3 months? What can you plan on doing in 6 months? So in other words, what will be the recovery process? Those are things you can think about now, even if you can't be making products and serving customers like I'm sure you'd want to be doing. So with that, again, this is a relatively brief episode. I just wanted to share these 5 points. The fact that this is a special event that involves people and not property, like many natural disasters. The very important aspect of staying connected with your employees, customers, suppliers, and maybe building some new skills on how to be remotely connected with those folks. Obviously, paying attention to your finances and staying connected with those people, the bankers, the small business administration, your local government. Again, thinking about not only is this a money issue, but it's also a people issue. You need to have talent there to start your business back rolling again. Then finally, use this opportunity to plan your recovery. Okay, I can't do anything today. We actually don't know what's going to happen this week, but you know what? It will end. So what will we be doing in 3 months and 6 months to gradually rebuild our ability to serve our customers, to get material from our suppliers? These things will come back. Am I prepared to actually make that happen? So again, thank you for listening. This is a difficult episode, a little shorter than usual, but again, just hope to give you some ideas that you can use during this time of uncertainty to actually focus on the things that you can do, while we all know that there's many things we can't predict or can't do anything about at the moment. In our next episode, we'll go back to our 4-part series, and I'll be talking about another group that can probably help you in the recovery plan, and that's working with the manufacturing extension partners that are in your state. We'll talk about them more, but this is a group of people that can also be there. And I'm sure they'll specifically have programs designed to help small, medium-sized manufacturers in their recovery process. So with that, I encourage you to visit the website, look at past episodes. If you have extra time during this period, download the PDFs that can help you as far as, sort of making notes and using some of those things in those episodes. My best wishes to you, your companies, your employees, and everyone in this time. And thank you for listening.